Good evening, good evening. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Welcome to the Arsenal FC Zurich preview. Before we get going, my guest is shortly arriving. Just want to say we're proudly sponsored by Global Mapping Surveys. Global Mapping Surveys currently assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. The link is in the description for the website and contact details. Thank you so much to Global Mapping Surveys. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Good evening, Tony. Hope you're doing well. So, whilst I wait for my co host, I will just talk a little bit about the game tomorrow. Obviously, we're at home. We are through to the next round, no matter what. If we win the group. We avoid the people out of the Champions League. If we draw and PSV also only get a draw, then we're through. We win again. But if we draw or lose and PSV win, then we finish second, and that isn't the greatest for us due to the fact that there's going to be issues. We will possibly face a bigger challenge than we really want. But just want to say good evening to Luke. Big up to you. Big up to G Talks. I hope everyone's well. Hopefully, GunnerKing will be joining me very shortly. So I just want to talk about FC Zurich very quickly. So I've looked at their form since we last beat them, which was back in the 8th of September. We won 2-1 away. But since then, they have only won 2 games. 2 games in total. They beat FC Zion, and last week they beat Bodo at home. Other than that, they've drawn 4, lost all the other games. They're bottom of their league. They're not looking great. I've noticed that they changed their formations a lot as well, which means they're not a very stable club. So obviously I've got the challenge coming up. That's already been done, technically. I haven't done the Arsenal players yet, but the actual FC Zurich players have been done. So that's already in, just don't want to avoid that. I do want to wait a little bit for GunnerKing due to the fact the squads that I asked everyone to choose. I would like a rating for each club that's been done. Hopefully Gunner won't be too much longer. But as I said, the situation is we are first with 12 points. PSV are second with 10 points. They've got to go to Bodo. Now, obviously, we didn't find it very easy there. No one else has. So that's not going to be an easy win for them. So I've just got, hang on, I've just got 2 seconds. I've got to send the StreamYard link. 2 seconds. Let's just quickly let's just send this, so then hopefully GunnerKing can come in. But yeah, like I said, no one wanted to do the challenge now. But I've done it. Here is Gunner as well. But I've done the challenge anyway, so GunnerKing doesn't have to worry about doing the challenge. All he's got to do is pick the 6 Arsenal players that go into the squad to go with the FC Zurich. But here is GunnerKing. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Oh, we're live. Sorry. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Sorry, I just wanted to go live and just get some of the backstory out the way. And yeah, I thought it'd just be a lot easier doing that. But you've come in at the perfect time because I did ask everyone to send in their squads, the lineups for Thursday, what they would choose. And as I said earlier, I've got 8 different squads. No one has really gone with the same. I think G Talks and Brenny are the only ones that have gone for the same squad. So this is the first one. This is Tony's. So Tony has gone for Turner, Cedric, Saliba, Holding, Tierney, Partey, Sambi, Vieira, Nelson, Eddie, and Martinelli. Now, what do you think of that squad, personally?
Yeah, it's a strong side. It's a strong side. Definitely one that I would expect to do well at Zurich. I definitely think Lokonga, he gets too much hate. I think he needs minutes.
Yeah.
People say that he's been underwhelming. He came in as a youngster and he's coming in and out of the squad. He's not getting a run or continuity of games, which we all know is what players need to be able to contribute at their optimal level. So I want to see him get as many minutes as possible. For me, though, with Chelsea looming this weekend, I wouldn't want to see Saliba, Partey, Martinelli anywhere near that starting lineup tomorrow. I wouldn't personally. I think especially with Saka going off injured the other day, I think it's integral that we wrap these players in cotton wool. We've got 2 more league games now. Chelsea away, Wolves away, and listen, let's not underestimate Wolves here. As well. Two tough fixtures. In my opinion, Wolves gave us absolute hell last season. We were lucky to get a 1-0 win. I think Martinelli got sent off. At home, they were difficult as well. So for me, the challenge is to win. We know if we win our next 2 away games, we go into that World Cup break top of the league. And I think the psychological boost that is going to give this crop of young players is massive. So gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but I think that underpins why I wouldn't want to see Partey, Martinelli, Saka, Saliba, any of these guys anywhere near the starting lineup. I wouldn't want to risk their injury or the fatigue going into that Chelsea game for anything. I'd rather take the risk of finishing the group second, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
As bold as that sounds, I think that's a risk worth taking. Chelsea play today, so we know that their squad's going to have an extra day's rest as well. They didn't travel either. They're playing at home. So, for me, I think the fundamental game to win this week is Chelsea.
Yeah. Spot on. So this is squad 2. This is G Talks and Brenny. So they both went for the same squad. So they've gone for Turner, Cedric, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Partey, Sambi, Vieira, Marquinhos, Nketiah, and Nelson. What do you think of that one?
That looks similar to the front 3 I've gone with. If I'm recalling off of memory. This front 3 I feel comfortable with. I think Nelson getting off the mark versus Nottingham Forest will boost his confidence. I like the balance of the front 3 with Marquinhos being left-footed and enabling him to kind of cut inside from the right-hand channel. Nelson being able to do the same on his right foot on the left. These are players that need minutes, that need confidence. And they're all in the same boat. So all 3 of them are going to be hungry, fighting for the team, but fighting for each other. And they're going to be itching to prove themselves. Alternatively as well, the players that I just named, with Martinelli being rested there, for Chelsea, that's why I prefer that front 3. Gabriel, although he's had injury recently, I would sooner risk his fitness or fatigue than Saliba's. In my opinion. So I like that switch as well. I'm really trying to figure out an alternative to playing Partey at all in this game. But because El Neni's not fit, I understand why probably most people, including myself, have put him in the team. But this is the worry and the danger, that something would happen to him. I think the only other alternative I can think of is Lokonga as the 6, Odegaard and Vieira as 8s. Is Lokonga ready to bear that responsibility on his own? I would question that, but all in all, a decent lineup. I think Tierney needs minutes as well, and confidence. So I think that was a good lineup as well.
Well, it was interesting what you said about Elneny, because 4 of the people that I've asked have actually gone for Elneny, and I have as well personally, because as far as I'm aware, he's okay to play. But I might be wrong. But as far as I know, I've heard he's okay. But we're going to go into your lineup. This is yours now, mate. So you've gone for White at centre back.
Yep.
Explain.
Yeah. So I think for me, I think Gabriel was injured recently.
Yeah.
I know it was only a minor knock, so I thought, listen, let's rest him. Let's rest Saliba. I think Holding and White, they've both played together last season as well. Formed fairly good partnerships. In some of our cup games. I think I don't want White to sort of lose the fundamentals of playing as a centre back as well. So I think it's a good game to play him in, and he's had no fitness issues whatsoever this season. He seems like a fairly fit, able lad that looks after himself, and so I just thought for that all those reasons, we should probably give him a game at centre back. But yeah, sorry, put the team up again. Did I put Tomiyasu in there? Because there's the other thing that I'm considering as well.
Yeah,
I do want to try Tomiyasu at centre back at some point.
Yeah. Do you think that might be worth doing next week against Brighton for the Carabao?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. The reason I say this, he's a natural centre back.
Yeah.
And if we were not to buy, because we went in for Martinez, so I think what we looked at there was a left-footed, left-sided centre back to compete with Gabriel. And listen, look, I love Gabriel. I think he's got a big part in Arsenal's future. There have been some rocky moments this season and throughout his Arsenal career. So I think if we're not to get a left-footed, left-sided centre back this January, I think a viable alternative would to play Tomiyasu at centre back. I think he's very comfortable on the ball. I think he's very composed. He's very good in the air as well. People often forget this, but being an actual centre back, being very tall and physically imposing, he's very good in the air, very strong. He's got all the attributes, all the base attributes you'd need for a centre back. Good awareness, positional awareness and sense, ability to read the game. So what you've seen Pep Guardiola doing at City, in some of the Champions League groups games, he's been trying different centre-back partnerships.
Yeah.
And I think the cup games, this game and the upcoming cup games, that's what we should be doing as well. We should be seeing, getting a feel, overall sense of Tomiyasu playing at centre-back with the different centre-backs we have, on the right side. I think for Japan, he actually plays as a left-sided centre-back as well. An inverted left-sided centre-back, So, try that option with Ben White and Saliba. Try the option of him being the right-footed centre-back with Gabriel as a left-footed one. Just get an overall sense and feel for what sort of impact, we can expect in the lesser games, so that if that's needed in more games, that would add a real depth to our backline options, I think. So,
because obviously we're doing a preview for the Brighton game next week, so it'll be interesting to see everyone's squads for that. How important we all find it, and how far we want to actually go, who we rest and stuff like that. Because obviously between Chelsea and Wolves, I live by the Wolves, so I know this is a big game. This is a huge game for Arsenal, but the Wolves aren't the Wolves that we played last season. Thankfully, right now they are pretty poor.
No.
But we'll get into.
They're in poor form, but they've got good players though. Wolves.
Yeah. Oh, they have definitely. Yeah, I'd easily take 3 of those players straight away at Arsenal. But we'll get into the fourth squad. So this is Moss. He's gone for Turner, Cedric, White, Saliba, Tierney, Partey, Sambi, Vieira, Nelson, Jesus, and Martinelli. Now, I know you've already said your issues about this, but I'm guessing you're not going to be too fond of that squad at all.
I don't want to see Jesus anywhere near that starting lineup. I didn't add him in that list as well. So of players that I didn't want to see starting, Jesus is definitely another one. I would not see a reason to start him at all.
I think what it is, and I do get it, and I do hear it from a lot of Arsenal fans, is if he scores, it might boost his confidence a little bit more because he is struggling in front of goal right now. And this is at FC Zurich, and I've chosen him personally. He's the only big player I've actually chosen is Jesus. But
see, I don't think him not scoring is a confidence issue. I think what you've got to understand with Jesus over the years, he's been used rotationally.
Yeah.
In City's team, and rotationally in Brazil's team. And now he's in a situation where he's playing game on game on game on game. They're coming thick and fast. I actually think it's a fatigue thing. And it's not to say that he can't play game after game after game.
Yeah.
It's just that acclimatizing process, where he's gone from, just being a bit part player, used rotationally to being this guy that's playing a lot of games. So I would maintain, I'd be very concerned if he started tomorrow. Personally, I think coming off the bench to give him the match sharpness for the Chelsea game. I fancy him scoring against Chelsea, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big game player. If you look at the goals that he scored for City last season, he scores the equaliser. If City don't equalise in that game, they lose the title. You look at Real Madrid. You look at Tottenham this season. So yeah, he turns up in big games. I'd want him fresh for it, personally.
Yeah. Okay, so this is.
But I understand what you're saying with the confidence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into my team. Everyone hates my team. They always do hate my team, but that's fine. This is squad 5. This is Luke's. So he's gone for slightly different. He's gone for Cedric, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, El Neni, Sambi, Vieira, Nelson, Jesus again, and Martinelli. Ramsdale in goal as well, which is an interesting one. It's the only one that's gone from Ramsdale. Now, what do you think about the Ramsdale thing? Do you think that's a good idea for him in this type of game? Or for me, goalkeepers for me don't get fatigue, so I don't really see an issue with it personally. But there we go.
There is that, and I think, I mean, you get less of a concern with a goalkeeper, and maybe keep his match sharpness intact, which I think is a fundamental that's more important for a goalkeeper, than outfield players. So I see some rationale behind it. If he were to get injured when Turner's just come back from an injury, though, I mean, if there was a situation where he got injured and Turner had to make his Premier League debut against Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge,
I do get it. Yeah,
Turner's been good though. He's been very good. He's actually, I can't think of. He hasn't put his foot wrong at all, So I'm not saying he's not capable. I'm just saying that's not the game I would want him, sort of being thrown into literally the lion's den, I think I see the sense in it. The pros being, sort of him keep maintaining his match fitness, but obviously if he did get injured, it would be a problem. Just look at that again. I mean, if El Neni's fit, if he's fit enough to start, he absolutely has to. In my opinion, that is a risk worth taking to keep Partey fit.
That was my favorite as well.
I would love to see El Neni start tomorrow instead of Partey with Lokonga as well. I think he would give Lokonga confidence. Allow Lokonga to play more in that 8 role. And it would free Vieira of some defensive responsibilities and allow him to get closer to the front three. Jesus and Martinelli, I maintain, I will be very, very, very disappointed if I see the starting sheet.
Yeah.
But the rest of it looks very good.
Okay, let's get into number 6. Now, this one might give you an issue due to the fact there's one player that no one's mentioned until this guy put it in his team. He's chosen Odegaard. But anyway, so he's gone for Cedric, White, Gabriel, Tierney, El Neni, Sambi, Odegaard, Nelson, Jesus, and Eddie on the left, which I actually do think suits him personally. That's my point about Eddie. So what do you think of that one?
I mean, look, it's a good lineup. Obviously, if El Neni's fit, he starts. The two centre backs of Gabriel and Ben White, they established a very good partnership together in the league last season. However, I just don't think it's necessary to risk both. I think Holding absolutely has to start tomorrow. There's no need to risk or fatigue both of them when we've got Chelsea on the horizon, and I'd expect both of them to feature. For that reason, Holding, take your pick out of Ben White or Gabriel. I mean, I wouldn't argue either one convincingly. I'd probably say Ben White starts, as I said before, because Gabriel's had a knock recently. Odegaard, I understand now, because Vieira, what gets me annoyed about Odegaard, right, is I'm going to go on a mad tangent here, right? I've been speaking to some of my mates that are actually Arsenal fans this week. And they're saying Odegaard needs to do more in games. He goes missing in big games. He misses chances on goal. We need to see a bit more from him. Listen, he's 23. He's not going to be perfect. And I've heard some Arsenal fans describe him as a 10 as well. For God's sake, he's not a 10. That is a formation we play with two interior 8s. And what people are so busy fixating on in his shortcomings, because yes, I do agree, in front of goal, he could be more clinical. In the box, in and around the box, in the 6-yard area, sometimes he chooses a pass when he can maybe shoot, and he needs to improve on that decision making off the cuff. However, what people completely forget, Odegaard leads the press. Odegaard leading the press allows Xhaka to stay higher up the pitch, and it takes pressure off Partey. And it's no coincidence that since Odegaard's been in the team, and specifically after we lost to Liverpool last season, when we went from playing a 4-2-3-1, we changed to the 4-3-3. And it's no coincidence whatsoever that Xhaka and Partey have been living their best life since this formation change in the centre of midfield. So, a statistic for people, right? Odegaard is in the 96th percentile of attacking midfielders in the world that are winning tackles in the attacking third of the opposition's territory. What that basically means, is he's in the top 4%ers of players in the world that are consistently winning the ball high up the pitch, which is what our formation and the high press lives off. It lives off. So this fixation of him missing chances, this guy's covering between like 9 or 10 and 12 to 13 kilometers on average per game. He covered 12.5 kilometers against Wolves at home last season, which is more kilometers than any other Arsenal player covered in a 90-minute game last season. And that just goes to show the importance in our build-up play, because when you win the ball high up the pitch and you transition, the team trying to play out from the back and beat your press, and you transition that into an attacking transition in your favor, that's when an opposition is at their weakest, which is what gegenpress and box pressing relies on, So Odegaard and Vieira is chalk and cheese in this fundamental. In terms of this is why Arteta has said that Vieira needs to work on some of the defensive fundamentals of his game. That's what he's talking about. He needs to up the ante. Vieira on the ball, him and Odegaard, they can go toe to toe already. I will say that. Like that. Technically they're both very gifted players. I'd say Odegaard's still a bit better technically, but it's what Odegaard gives you off the ball that Vieira can't yet. And to do that, he has to build up his physical intensity. He has to build up his physical fitness. His physical strength and his stamina. So I see the argument for putting Odegaard in.
Yeah.
Because Vieira doesn't quite have that yet. And if you've got Lokonga, who's less experienced next to him, it invariably puts pressure on him as well. But Odegaard's had a knock recently as well that he's returning from. And he's a player that gets niggling little injuries, just on and off. If you've seen it throughout his career, he doesn't get long-term injuries, not bad ones, but he gets these 5-10 day ones here or there, and it can upset his rhythm. So I see the logic in putting him in there for what he gives you off the ball and his leadership as well. But that's why I left him out of the team. Just the rest.
Right, let's get on to squad 7. This is Sapvik. He's gone for Turner, Cedric, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney, Elneny, Sambi, Fabio, Nelson, Eddie up front, Martinelli on the left. What do you think of that one? I know you're going to say about Martinelli.
Yeah, I think other than Martinelli, it's good. It's well balanced. You've got Gabriel Holding, left foot, right foot, centre backs. Minutes to Cedric and Tierney. Minutes to Nelson to kind of reward him for his contribution against Forest the other day. The only thing I would say is Martinelli. I can't stress how badly I want. He's probably, of all the players I named, I want wrapped in cotton wool the most. He's been fantastic this season.
Yeah, I've loved him.
I would say, other than Xhaka, he's been one of our probably our best players.
Yeah,
there's been
so many this season, to be fair, which has been really positive. Now I'm going to go into mine. This is where everyone always jumps on me, but I do this thinking about our youth. I want to try and give some of our youth a chance. So
I'm for that as well.
Right, so this is my 11. I've gone for Turner. I've got Cedric. I've got Zakor, Gabriel, and I've got Jeff Cott at left back, Elneny, Sambi, Fabio, Nelson. I've gone for Jesus because of what we talked about earlier, but I've also gone for Charles Sago on the left just to give him a chance because I like these kids, and at some point we need to give them a chance because I've supported Arsenal for nearly 40 years. I'm used to seeing some of our youth get a chance, and at the moment, I'm not seeing it. And we've got a very good young under-21 team. They are top of the league in their own league, and this is what we need. We need to give these kids a chance, a bit of confidence. Now they've been training with the first teamers, so he obviously sees something in them. Well, then why not just put them in? My personal choice at left back is actually Lino Sousa, but he's not a Europa League, whatever you call it. He's not actually registered to play in it, sadly. But Jeff Cott is. So Jeff Cott.
How old is he?
Jeff Cott's 18, 19.
You don't need to be registered.
Lino
Sousa.
Lino, there's on the Europa League site, they've got everybody that registered, and in the stars, it's the youth. Lino is not one of them. For some, I don't know what it is. If he is registered, then that's great. I'll put him in, but he's not on the list. All those kids are. Those kids are.
If you've been part of the setup for like more than a season or 2 seasons,
we brought Lino Sousa in.
And your 22nd and a half birthday is before like February or something like that. I don't think you need to be registered.
I think it's because we bought him from West Brom. We paid $1 million for him. That might be why. If that was the case, because I didn't realise that part of it, about the being with us for so long. But yeah, we bought him from West Brom for $1 million, so that was probably why. But that's my team. I want to give these kids a chance. This is the perfect game for me. Oh,
I'm not
okay.
gonna,
But last
I'm not
week
gonna,
I got absolutely
no,
ripped
because
apart.
you know what, your mind, everything that you just said then,
Mm,
mate. I'm 38 years old myself. Like we
yeah,
haven't done many shows together, yeah. So
yeah,
there's not much age gap between us, you know.
yeah,
And I always talk about my first experience of like when I was coming to being an Arsenal fan, of a captain, was a man that was put in the team and I think given the armband at 17. That was Tony Adams.
yeah,
You know, like, and since then, you know, like Arsenal and Man United, they have the longest records of match day squads that feature an academy product in them. It's part of who we are, bro. It's part of our history,
that's
part of our DNA,
see,
part of our
me and you
tradition.
think of the same
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
can think of Ian Selly, Stephen
This,
Morrow, all the different bit part
this,
players.
this is
They've
it,
all
man.
been part of us.
I think those players to me are more they're more indispensable to me. Like in my
Yeah,
heart, you know, like Saka
yeah,
and Smith Rowe. You know, like
yeah,
for me, you know, like I get very protective over those two. I get
yeah,
very defensive, you know,
yeah,
because for me, I see Tony Adams passing the baton to him. You know, like I see that like that tradition. Like for me is something I herald. It's very sacred. You know, like
yeah,
I'd love for us to be able to, you know, sort of pump money into our club and you know, like the likes of City and PSG do. But
yeah,
even if we did, even if we had all the money and if we had Newcastle and City's money combined, I would still want to see kids coming from our academy because
yeah,
that is who we are.
exactly,
That is who
exactly.
we always must remain. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I've got no problem with that, and I think you're right. You know, like look, this is a game that if we lose, we still qualified.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing in the under 21s, what you're seeing in the women's league, the
yeah,
WSL league, you know,
yeah,
we're top of that. We first team to go 10 games consecutively in the WSL league without conceding a goal, 10 wins. We won 11, won 3-1, conceded one the other day. You know, you're what I'm really loving about this time is throughout the club and its
yeah,
foundations. Yeah,
yeah,
you're seeing the men's team, you're seeing the women's team, you're seeing the under 23s team, all producing excellence. And I
yeah,
think what's always good when you see that, I think Nathan Nyanweri the other day when he was brought on against Brentford, and
yeah,
everyone was saying, you know, we're just doing this for the sake of vanity, and it's like no, because if you look and you see, you know, they're performing. This guy was 14 years old when he was put into our under 23 team or under 18 team,
yeah,
and he was playing with kids 4 years minimum his senior, some of them at 14 because of his excellence. Yeah. So I
yeah,
think what these guys need to see is if you perform on the pitch, if you conduct yourself correctly off the pitch, the chances are there. Same
yeah,
way they were there for Saka, same way there was for ESR. So it's not just about giving these guys the debut. It's about giving the rest of the under 21s and the under 23s and giving them hope that they can be the next ones, you know. And I think that's positive reinforcement, you know, for the youth culture of the football club. So I don't know. I've not seen your lineups before, so I've been really busy. But
yeah.
I'm definitely not going to knock that line, you know, for
Oh,
that reason.
appreciate
I
that.
I just think yeah, like to be honest, when I play Football Manager and these manager games, that's what I do. When it's
Yeah,
friendlies or cup games, games where you've already qualified, I remove the whole first 11.
yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
look, you know what? Like, what's the worst that can happen here, man?
Well,
I'm
you
going
know
to
what?
discover, unearth a raw talent, a gem that I can go on and use, you know.
Yeah,
And
because I play FIFA. I'm not an FM player, but when I play FIFA, the biggest importance for me is making sure I've got a youth academy and youth players that are there if I need them and want to give them a chance and let them grow and stuff. That's the most important. And the one player that at Arsenal that I wish made it, and I did follow him when he joined Wolves, was Benikafobe.
yeah,
That kid, I wish he just could push on that little bit further than he did.
there's loads of. I think Donny Marlin, he's another
Yeah,
one that I'm really
yeah.
enjoying
In
seeing
Denmark.
doing well at the
Yeah, Paul.
moment.
Mm.
There's who's the one in France?
Oh, is that the midfielder?
Leon. Yeah, plays for Leon.
Oh, Raitland. Oh, begins with an R, doesn't it? Oh,
Rennie Adelaide. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's it.
one.
Yeah, Renee,
Um,
yeah,
and Dewsbury Hall as well.
yeah,
You know, like he's looking more and more like the one that got away that I'd love to bring home as well. Could do a whole
yeah,
nother stream on that because I've been saying that for ages. Him and
yeah,
Harvey Barnes at Leicester have been outstanding for me. Like even though Leicester have been poor, I watch him very closely. You know, because that's it. You know, like even Awobi. You know, you're seeing him shining now. Like when they come from your academy, it hits a bit different, even if they're not at your club anymore. You know?
yeah.
Just because that's what it was to be an Arsenal supporter as a kid.
Yeah.
Like you
I
said,
think
from the
for me,
generation we were from. You know, this
yeah,
was this was before the Premier League came. People were throwing money at like it was. This is what it was. You know, like
yeah,
it was a key fundamental for Graham
yeah. Because for me,
and
I'm,
Wenger. You know,
yeah,
and
I'm adopted. My granddad has supported him since the 1920s, and we used to go to Boreham Wood because that's where he lived, and we used to go and watch the women's game, the under-21s. It was part of you. He always taught me that you don't just support the first team; you support Arsenal, the
yeah,
whole thing,
the whole
everything.
thing.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how I've always done it, and I've always will do that because for me it's important.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need to get into comments because we have talked loads and I've missed loads of comments. Luke's saying here, be good to see Lukonga in an 8 role. That's what I think he is. To be honest, is an 8. Luke saying Martinelli did do the players' press conference earlier, so I think he will be playing. Yeah, that kind of does give an inkling that he will be playing to me. Tony saying strong Chelsea side 1-0 down at home against Zagreb. Oh day. My fellow
I'm going to
FTSM
cook
man.
these Chelsea fans so badly, man.
Well, we've got that stream to come up. We've got that
Lapping
stream to
they've
come
been
up. I
doing.
can't wait for that one. Especially if we can find a Chelsea fan.
I found them.
You found one. Oh, we'll talk
Yeah.
about
No,
that.
also, I've been speaking to Carefree Lewis as well. He's like well established fan pundit from Chelsea, and we're looking to do a special preview show this week as well. So keep
Cool.
your eyes peeled for that one. I'm gonna set that up for this week as well.
Awesome. My brother from another network, with you guys qualified, keeping your main squad players rested for weekend is smart. Yep. DWT, hello Bobby, the King, and chat room. I'm sure he didn't enjoy my squad. He hated me line last time. I think El Neni is available now. Yep, I do think he is as well. Big up to Brenny. Hope you're doing well. I understand the Jesus selection idea. Yeah. I think Jesus needs a goal, gets one tomorrow, and he'll be more confident for Sunday. I do get it. I wouldn't want Jesus in the team if I was an Arsenal fan. He's your main man up top, and he needs to be protected for games that actually matter. But I'd also say this might have something to do with FPL. I think if he's worried that he might get injured, he's in his FPL team. So
Who does he support, by the way?
Oh, Colm, he's a United fan. He's the one I do loads of watch-alongs with on FTSN. So yeah, he's a really nice guy, to be honest. We get on quite well. FTSN, this game does matter for us. Want to go straight into it? We do. That is for me very important. If we do drop, I still think we could beat the teams. But
I think Colin. I understood like Colin was using matter, like the game mattering very usefully. I think maybe if I was to reframe it for him, matters more. You know, Chelsea matters more. Do you know what I mean? If you were offered the ability to be guaranteed 3 points on Sunday, but you had to draw or lose, or you had to choose between winning this game and avoiding a playoff, but you were unable to avoid defeat against Chelsea, you're taking the first option. I don't care what no one says. Do you know what I mean? Like, because staying, you know, the Premier League is your bread and butter. The league is your bread and butter. You know, like the psychological boost of being top is for me is fundamental. It is. It is. You know, like, and listen. This might sound a bit hot. These teams that are dropped out, they're big clubs. Barcelona are a big club. Juventus are a big club. Yeah. Atletico Madrid are a big club. I don't fear them.
No, I don't.
At this present moment, the way those three teams are playing,
Yeah,
they're not giving me any reason to fear them.
no, they're not. They're not giving me any fears at all. Colm saying here, but you'll beat them without Jesus. Would you rather play him and risk an injury and then lose him for the Chelsea game, or probably win anyway and keep him safe for the Chelsea game? I do get goal, and I think like most of us have not gone for Jesus. There's just a couple of us that have gone for him, and I think we can see the pros and the cons of choosing him.
Yeah, there's merits on both sides, no doubt. Yeah, like I mean, I was a striker. You know, you feed off confidence. You feed off your last goal. You're as good as your last performance. And you know, confidence is a fundamental key. You know, and I don't really perceive a lack of confidence. You know, I think you look at the Forest goals. You know, the Forest game, the goals he could have scored. Listen, they were smart saves from a good goalkeeper.
Yeah,
when he was in on goal, you know, like, yeah, okay, there's some shots where you're thinking, yeah, look, he could have done better. But look, people got to remember as well, it's not FIFA. You don't just stick a player into a new team and then just bam, like, you know, they just start, you got a pad there and you're just controlling them and they just smash it. He's still learning and trying to understand the fundamentals of our system and how it works, the build-up play, the structure, the timing of his runs, when to get into the box. The more this improves, the better positions he puts himself in to make finishing and shooting easier. Yeah. I just think he's always going to be a player whereby he's never going to be an elite level finisher, I don't think. But again, it's like Odegaard, man. I feel like we can be quite narrow viewed in how we look at some of our players and the critique that we give them. Right? I mean, let me take an example. Liverpool fans, right, have compared the number of goals Núñez scored to the number of goals Jesus has scored, and they've come up with this trope. Yeah, one of them is considered a flop, the other is considered the signing of a season.
Yeah,
possession won in the attacking third, dribbling take on success, long passing, short, mid passing, chance creation, big chance creation. All of these are in favour of Jesus.
Yeah.
But because Núñez scored one more goal and he counted a goal from a Charity Shield final.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? What you've got to understand, right, is there are trade-offs. Yeah.
Yeah.
What Jesus doesn't give you in that elite, top, high level of finishing, his all-round game is better than Haaland's.
Yeah.
Miles better than Haaland's. You know, like, and that's not to say Haaland doesn't have an all-round game either, because that is an overcrash trope in its own. Yeah. What I'm saying is, Jesus' all-round game is what he's there for. What you think it's a coincidence that Martinelli is the return he's having? You know, the Saka, you know, the level that he's escalating to, because he has got better this season. Don't care what no one says. Everyone was saying he's had a slow start to the season. Yeah. And people think this is a coincidence since Jesus has been there.
Yeah.
No, like this finishing thing. Look, we scored 30 goals in the league this season. City have scored more. Like, I feel like our criticisms sometimes we are striving too much for perfection. You know, like without sort of understanding the realities of the situation. He needs time to settle. You know, in a new team, he's never been that elite level finisher, but he's always been someone that gives a lot to the team, a lot to the other attacking players around him, a lot to the build-up structure and the patterns of build-up play. His contributions transcend goals, man.
Yeah.
You know, so don't focus so heavily on the chances he misses. I'm not saying don't focus on them entirely. I'm just saying that I'm just seeing them being scrutinized way too heavily, man. Way too heavily, without balancing the context of what else he brings to the table.
Yeah.
Because that Núñez comparison, to go back to it, is embarrassing to anyone who knows football. It is absolutely embarrassing. You know,
I
and
know what the ones you're on about as well. Yeah,
I've had Tottenham fans say that too, that hate Arsenal. I've had Tottenham fans turn around to my mates that are Liverpool fans and just said, "Wind your neck in. This is embarrassing. Jesus has been a miles better player, and I just test Arsenal like the plague." You know, like so. I mean, that just gives you the context of what else he brings. You know, which is important, very important. I'd say that's more important than his goal scoring. All
yeah,
those
because
other things I mentioned.
obviously I
Because
do a lot of watch. Oh, carry on. Sorry.
it's about balance, isn't it? If you Martinelli's a better finisher, I think.
Yeah. Mm.
So if Jesus isn't going to give you the goals, put someone on the pitch that is going to enable Martinelli to get the goals. That's just it's not rocket science here. Do you know what I mean? Like Firmino, the great comparison I used to debunk these Liverpool fans in a video that I made.
Yeah.
No one criticized Firmino for not getting a great amount of goals and assists. Why? Because him being on the pitch meant Salah and Mane were scoring monsters, and they didn't play centrally.
Yeah.
We have this fixation on a 9 being the focal point of attack and being the guy that gets 20 goals. That's not really football anymore. Look at Son.
Mm.
You know, look how many goals he got. He got the golden boot last season. He's not a traditional central number 9 player, is he? And why is that? Kane drops deep. It enables him, creates space for him by occupying centre backs and midfielders, so that Son can get in on goal. That's the dynamic that Jesus and Martinelli have, and we're still scoring enough goals. Scoring goals isn't the problem in this team at the moment.
Yeah. Just want to say big up to Nippon. Hope you're doing well. And he has got a question for you, Chris. When's the next top 6 show you host? That's tonight, isn't it? As far as I know.
It is tonight, yeah. 11 o'clock.
11
o'clock tonight, yeah.
There you go, Nippon.
But yeah, make sure you tune in. Holding scores tomorrow.
I wouldn't if just read that comment and didn't see who typed it, I would have guessed that was Tony. You guarantee it, because he just loves Holding. Colm saying here, Odegaard is a silent assassin. When I have seen him, he reminds me of Xavi at time.
As an interior 8, I would say he reminds me more of Iniesta than Xavi.
Yeah, I'm more with you on that one, Chris, to be honest.
But yeah, like I get because that's the sort of trio that they would use: Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta.
Yeah, it reminds me more of Iniesta.
But I think just his quality on the ball in terms of his ball carrying, and his dribbling. I think Iniesta had a bit more of that to his game than Xavi did, and I would say that would be the interior 8 from the peak Barcelona I'd compare him to, without saying his quality is anywhere near that level, but the mold that he plays in.
Yeah. Tony telling you to tell the people are blind to see what Odegaard does. Spot on. Luke saying, Colm, I'd agree with you. We should beat Zurich without Jesus, but my reasons for playing him is because I think he needs a goal. Plus, haven't been impressed with Eddie at all. Yeah, I'm kind of done with with Eddie at the moment.
No, but I think Eddie and the Conga get a hard time, man.
Oh no, I love Sambi. I could see something in Sambi.
Yeah, I want them both kept, and I think people have to apply the context of not playing continuously in a run of games, playing into form. I think it's important. I think it lets both of them down a bit because they're coming in cold after not appearing for a number of games, and then just here you go, here's a game, here's a bone. You know, when you come in those circumstances, you're very eager to impress, and you can over elaborate or complicate things because you want to do something that sticks out in the manager's mind. Do you know what I mean? And also you just don't have the match fitness or the sharpness. And you're coming into a team, you're playing with teammates that you've not built up any chemistry with, so I got no issue with Nketiah's quality. Obviously I want to see more from him, but I do feel if you gave him 5, 6, 7, 10 games like we did in the run to the end of the last season, you see what happens.
Do you think he could do it again though?
Yeah. definitely.
See, for me, I think he's dropped behind Balogun now because I've been watching Balogun a lot, and that kid
Range,
is quality.
He
That
is.
kid is quality,
He
and
is, definitely.
I think next season, if Balogun should be coming back, because I've not heard anything that he's not coming back, but I think that might be where Eddie might have to think about his own, career now.
For me,
does he move to the left? Because I think that will work for him. I think he's better on the left.
I've always said, a team should have 3 to 4 attacking options, squad wise. You look at the way the game's going now. You can use 5 substitutions.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two. We don't have a winter break. All the other clubs in Europe, we're the only country in Europe that does not put in place a winter break. The Premier League is the most intense in the world.
Yeah.
And if we're a team that now is, we're back in Europe, we're aspiring to stay in Europe season on season, and you want to compete in 4 competitions, you need 4 strikers, 4 players that are able to play as 9s. So I'd keep Balogun, I'd keep Nketiah. I think the good thing as well, Jesus being the more experienced of the 3, it's just a good dynamic with those 2 being younger and being cultivated under his kind of tutelage on the training pitch. So I don't think it's an either-or situation. I think, Nketiah could play on the left, but I think I'd prefer Balogun on the left.
Yeah, well, the good thing with Balogun, he can actually play both sides as well.
Balogun can do both. Yeah, he's done both under 23 level. And I think if you look at Balogun's fundamentals in terms of his dribbling, his take-on ability, his flair in doing both of these things, he's got that in spades over Nketiah. It's not close. He is technically miles better than Nketiah. Sort of the ability of him to strike a ball, to carry a ball, to pass a ball. These fundamentals, I think, would suit him more to the left, with Nketiah playing up front with those 2 interchanging than the other way around. I'm not saying Nketiah has no ability technically, but he's nowhere. You look at the highlight reels of Balogun, when people that haven't seen it, some of the stuff he pulls off is just ridiculous. He's got a nutmeg high reel. I swear it's a half-hour long or something like that.
If no one's ever got to see much of him, try to, because honestly, he's worth it. He's worth watching. I like the kid. That kid excites me.
Quality, man. He's quality.
Let's get back into comments because we're running out of time as well. Moss, hope you're doing well, mate. Chelsea now 2-1 off. Okay, a lot's changing in a few minutes. Armoury just talking to us about that. Skip these, going through some. When Bobby can we do what we want as a lineup, and also what you think of Mikel Arteta's lineup is? Then I can pick a few of Bobby's young faves. Yeah, I do get what you mean, Moss, but I want everyone to have their own view, because it's interesting, because obviously I wasn't expecting 8 different squads today. I was quite shocked because it's obviously taken me a lot of time to actually build them up as well. Normally, I think when we did the weekend game, it was 3 or 4 squads, because we all kind of settled in. We knew what we were going for. But this is Europa League against FC Zurich. So we've all gone for different options. And some people have only gone for 1 or 2 different options. And I will have to mention another striker, Mika Birev. I love him. Everyone, Moss definitely knows how much I love this kid, because he's tall. He adds something different to what we don't have.
He's a proper 9, and I've listen, Bobby. We haven't done many shows together yet, but if you watch back through some of the streams that I've done throughout the summer, you look at our attempts to get Vlahovic.
Yeah,
Arteta really loves proper 9s. When you're talking about an out and out number 9, you're talking about a complete forward.
Yeah,
someone that, in addition to being able to finish, use their head, ideally use both feet, they can link up the play. They got good vision, good technical ability. They got good strength, athleticism. Pace is a bonus. They got physical presence in the box. Can out muscle defenders. They're not going to be bullied. You look at players like Ivan Toney right now. You look at players like Osimhen. You look at players like Drogba in the past. These kind of archetypes, these kind of profiles. I've said from day dot, I think Arsenal would be very dangerous with a player like this. And he courted Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a long time, who plays in that mold. And Birif has those qualities, those fundamentals. He has all.
He's only 19 at the moment, so he's got a good few years yet.
We bought him from Fulham, last season. I've been watching him very closely as well.
What's your opinion on Moss's favourite? Bear in mind, Moss is Canadian, so he loves anyone Canadian. So, what's your opinion on Jonathan David? I don't rate him that high. I've watched him a lot. I prefer the Bamba. I think his name's Bamba, the winger that plays for Lille. I prefer him. But Jonathan, I'm still not convinced by Jonathan David personally. What's your opinions on him?
Yeah, I think David's an awesome player. I do like David. I think still a bit raw, but he's another player that I've looked at very closely. He can play across the front line as well himself. Has started to kind of make the number 9 position at Lille his own. But he's got a big future, massive future. I think we were looking at him, Bayern Munich looking at him. I think he's a good talent. I get what you're saying about there has been a bit of a drop off. I think at Lille they use Yilmaz just behind him, as a second striker, and I think he is more effective when Yilmaz was like the foil player to him than when he's a lone striker. That would be my only concern with him. But in terms of like his quality as a footballer, it's definitely there for me, I think.
Moss mentioned a couple of players here. Look, we were obviously talking about earlier with the youth that we've let go. Massar is definitely one. Malin is another one that you mentioned as well. Big up to Ravi.
There's a guy at AC Milan as well, the central midfielder.
Benacer. He was one of ours as well, wasn't he?
I was raving about this guy, waxing lyrical about him.
He was good when he was in our youth as well. This is what has annoyed me.
So there's loads. Like our academy. Both the players that are in there at the moment, the ones that have left, there's some very good players out there, no doubt.
Big up to Raviel Burton saying that Chelsea are also leading 2-1. Moss doing here. Hayes jersey. Moss got the same jersey. Showed that to Bobby at the weekend. You think Elneny starts? Moss talking about loads of different games going on here. This match is just as important as Chelsea. Top group. Yeah, we covered that as well. Tony.
It's important, but I wouldn't say as important.
Yeah.
It's a London rival as well, man. Like, throw that in. Come on, like Chelsea, they've of any team have got a claim to say, that we are the team in London that could be bigger than you. There is that with me as an Arsenal fan. I can't stand them for this reason. No club in London is bigger than Arsenal. They might have been better for 2 decades. It doesn't make them bigger. So for me, any and every opportunity to remind them of their station, sometimes in my head, that can mean more than giving Tottenham a slap, because Tottenham have just been irrelevant my whole damn life. There's never been a point in my life where they've had any form of relevancy relative to Arsenal or Chelsea. Whereas Chelsea have. There is a respect there for what they've achieved. Don't get it wrong, but there's also this taint in my mouth where it's just like, if you could just sit in the corner quietly and accept that you've done things, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. That you still got work to do. To overtake the most decorated club in London, which is us, not them. Then I might. I might respect you a bit more. But the fact that you're young fans, sort of the young FIFA generation that didn't grow up and see the Armourys and and the Ian Wrights and the George Grahams and the Wengers think that because they didn't see it didn't happen.
Yeah.
No. There's for me that game is not more important than Zurich. I mean, less important than Zurich. No way, not even close. Not for me. Sorry. I'm not happy.
TWT saying this goals this season, top 4 and go deep into Cup Europe. This shows progress. Oh, it is. I don't think anyone's saying there's definitely been no progress this season. There's definitely progress. Top of the league will push them to do something in January window. Can't take.
And that's the other thing as well. Sorry to interject there.
That's all right.
Being top of the league going into the January window by virtue of winning our last 2 games. How much more attractive a proposition does that make you in the January market?
Yeah. Exactly.
Would you say that topping your group in Europa gives you the same allure or attraction as being top of the league, defying odds with this Man City that we're competing against, with this Guardiola that we're competing against? I'm going to add that as another reason why this Chelsea game is far more important.
Yeah, you're spot on. Striving for perfection is a good thing in the past. We were just hoping for a performance. Correct. Moss saying here about Nunes, wait for him to watch for Uruguay. Yeah, I've seen him for Uruguay. He is a different player and he was better at Benfica. I've watched him. I do a lot of watch alongs and sort of.
Oh yeah, listen, I'm not saying he's a flop. I'm just saying like that it's almost like they thought they could compare him to Haaland. They lost that debate, so they kind of like thought they could move down. And I'm not saying there isn't comparisons or there isn't contentions or that he hasn't been good, but just saying he got one more goal than Jesus.
Yeah.
So why is he being considered a flop when Jesus isn't? It's just a very lazy, lackadaisical, lacking in context argument. And I'm all for the debates being healthy and like delving into the weeds, like really getting into the nitty gritty, looking at, sort of, using your eyes, seeing what they tell you, and also using the context of what the outlying statistics tell you as well.
Yeah.
And as I said, the practically every other attacking metric, Jesus absolutely obliterates Nunes. So that's all it is.
Yeah. Moss saying here that you're saying what he would say, but you're saying it way better. Pick up to Moss. I'm glad you're anyway. Raviel also saying you're a real one, bro. Let's try and skip some. I get you, GunnerKing. As long as someone else is scoring, it doesn't matter so much to Arsenal as long as we're winning. I just want to see Jesus scoring more because I think it's important for him. I do think it's important for him as well.
Definitely.
Moss agreeing here that Balogun's getting better because he watches a lot of La Liga as well, same as I do. If you put Eddie in Premier League team, he will score goals. You can't change up the whole team, expect him to be banging in goals. What GunnerKing was saying earlier. Eddie Sambi won't get the games they need. Look at Saliba. Is that not what they need? Yeah, true. But how are they going to get the games is the problem. Saliba played regularly last season, DWT. Balogun is getting the minutes. Eddie needs. He's been on loans, but has not been able to take advantage. Spot on. Let's try and skip through some because we've got more stuff to do yet. Moss talking loads here. Talking about David. I thought he would do. Predictions. Yes, Tony, thank you for that because that was what I was going to get into. But we do need to quickly go on to the challenge. But thankfully, Gunner doesn't have to do the challenge. I've already done it. All Gunner has to do is choose the 6 Arsenal players that go into the squad. So that should be fun. Thoughts on Trusty on loan at Birmingham City, one of my local clubs. Go through that whilst I go through some more comments as well, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been impressive, there's a guy I chat to regularly on TikTok, Joe, who's a Birmingham City fan through and through. And he's been raving about the performances of Trusty. I think the Championship was a great move for him, to kind of grow accustomed to playing football in England. But I think he had all the key kind of fundamentals for a centre back. His strength, his presence. He's good on the ball as well for a centre back. You can see that Arteta's very clear in the sort of the vision of what he wants from centre backs. He loves ball playing centre backs.
Yeah,
He loves and when you're looking at the goal he scored this weekend, when you're looking at what he can do with the ball, to help us kind of progress the ball into the midfield and the final third channels. He's definitely got the talent to be able to do that. And I hope he can keep going, because I think if he were to come into the squad next season, provide competition, me and Tony have had a long running about Holding. Which I'm not going to fuel the douse the flames with too much with my thoughts, but I think Trusty's definitely showing that we could consider life after him, maybe, and sort of move him on, invest some of the money in other areas of the squad that need it. I think at some point we are going to have to look at a fullback that can be a bit more expansive on the right hand side, to match those options that we've got on the left hand side, with Tierney and Zinchenko, who we both know can be quite aggressive when it comes to getting forward, and I'd like that dimension to be added to the right hand side. I think Tommy Assen and White are very good. White's getting better going forward, but they're not natural fullbacks, I think so far, with Trusty, it's looking good, and we are looking to the Americas a lot more. Facundo Torres is the next guy that we're linked to. We played the Orlando team that we played friendly wise. He scored against us as well. And I've been watching him, and I was just like, a lot of people are writing him off just because he's from America, and there's still this stigma and this dissonance that people are attaching, to the MLS and the American League. And I've been watching him, and I'm telling you, he's a problem. I'd love him to come to Arsenal. So the quality of football in America is improving, man. And I think Trusty's a testament to that, really.
Yeah. For people that know me, Moss definitely knows how much I watch MLS. I've got two teams that I follow. There are better than Torres in MLS, and that's my only concern. And I do feel that maybe if Trusty doesn't make it, I think Arsenal will be more than happy to sell him for a good profit, because this is where we've got to start bankrolling, haven't we? We've got to start bankrolling our team to push towards the City, because we're not going to ever get owned like them. So we need to find a different way of financing ourselves.
It's the financing that Chelsea have used, the model.
Yeah.
If you look at it, if you look at the net from their initial outlay of transfers, Chelsea, to the sales from 2013 to the year they won the Champions League, it was lower than Everton's and Aston Villa's. And you compare the success of those three clubs, chalk and absolute cheese. But it was because, if you look at Chelsea, their academy, the way it operates, basically they were getting good returns from youth investment in the transfer market, and then they were able to use that to reinvest in the first team itself. So
right, before I get into the next bit, if everyone can put in their predictions for the game tomorrow, GunnerKing, can you have a think about it as well? I'm just going to play the video for the challenge, but I will explain the challenge to you, GunnerKing, because I know you're new to this, but I'll explain it. I've done half of it for you, anyway, because normally people have to help, but we'll get into the challenge. So normally what I do is pick. You've got to choose the 5 that are the most dangerous from the opposition. Now, obviously, this is FC Zurich. A lot of people I've spoken to are like, I have no idea who to pick because I don't know any of them. So I've done a lot of work, and I've done a study for this one because I watch a lot of football all over Europe. So I've got the 5 players that could cause a problem from FC Zurich. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be a massive problem, but they are the 5 better quality players that they've got.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, they are pretty much all the front line. What your job is going to be is choosing the best Arsenal goalkeeper, centre back, right back, left back to try and make a team. And then we've got to decide where they could possibly be in the Premier League. Okay. So these are the 5 players that I've gone with for FC Zurich to keep an eye out for tomorrow. So we've got Egan Tosin, who's a striker.
Mm.
We've got Jonathan Okita that plays on the left wing. Now, the right winger, I'm going to struggle his name. Boran Izazivic, I think that's how you're going to say his name. You got Conde that plays in midfield, and Selnays, who is a defensive midfielder. They are probably the 5 best players they've got, to be honest. They're not very good. As I said, they're 10th in their own league in Switzerland. That they've hardly won anything this season. They are pretty poor. So I thought I've done everyone else, and they've always given it a good challenge, but this one was too tricky, to be fair. So I've done this one. Obviously, we're going to do this for the Chelsea game at the weekend, so that would be interesting. But the best goalkeeper for Arsenal, I'm guess you're going to say Ramsdale.
Definitely Ramsdale, yeah, for the moment.
As much. There we go. Right, let's just put him in there. Right, the best right back for Arsenal.
This is actually getting more difficult.
There you go.
I'm actually going to say it's close between Tomiyasu and White. We could do another whole show on this. Tomiyasu is proving his worth, inverting as a left-sided fullback as well, okay, in our system as well. Yeah. Zinchenko, that's what he does on the left-hand side, which is what shores up our midfield and offers midfield technical security as well. Yeah. But fundamentally, Ben White, he is so underappreciated as well.
Yeah.
And he's been outstanding as a right back this season.
Yeah, he has been for me as well. My favourite, I played as a right back, so right back is somewhere that I actually keep an eye on. Lee Dixon, obviously, is my favourite one of all time at Arsenal. Always will be. No one will ever change that.
Mine as well, to be honest.
Yeah. But Ben White, for me, he's impressed me more as a right back. I'm actually very impressed by him there.
Let's go with White.
Yeah. Right, left back.
Zinchenko,
okay.
Yeah, and listen, this isn't to say that I think he's necessarily a better player than Tierney.
Yeah.
He's more suited to our system and the way that we are looking to control games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say him at the moment.
I know. I normally guess this one. It's going to be Saliba at the right centre back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't want to put answers in your mouth, but some of them I kind of already know already.
Saliba's been the best centre back in the league this season, bar no one, and I've literally been going to war with every single fan base to reiterate this stance.
Tony clipped me on the weekend, Leeds versus Liverpool, and I in the emotion of the excitement of Leeds scoring that winner, I did say about Van Dijk, drop your crown, give it to Saliba, because for me, he's the most exciting centre back that I've seen for years, and I mean years. Van Dijk that's never really impressed me. I'm more of a Tony Adams fan, and I haven't seen anyone like Tony Adams for years.
I like Van Dijk, don't get me wrong, but I think when he was coming into his peak at Liverpool, he was in his late 20s.
Yeah,
what excites me about Saliba is these are his first 12 matches.
Yeah,
in Premier League football. And the guy is it's just like, he plays like he's just got out of bed, man. Pajamas on. He's just like, manana, walking to the kitchen to go make himself a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like, just like, putting the milk and 2 sugars in just as he kind of nutmegs people in his own box. He's just so press resistant. honestly, as far as Arsenal centre back's concerned, this is the most excited I have been about a centre back.
Yeah.
Playing for Arsenal since the Invincible era.
Yeah.
I've not no centre back has excited me like this.
Mm.
Ben White and Gabriel I was really happy with last season,
Yeah.
but this guy quite literally could be the jewel in our crown right now.
Yeah, he is for me. I think he's fantastic.
I can't sing his praises enough. Like more ball recoveries in the defensive third than any other player in the Prem this season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the thing is, we're a possession-heavy team.
Yeah.
So like a lot. What people need to understand about defensive stats and reading them is, some people will be like, "Oh yeah, this guy's made more tackles and won more headers, so he must be better." And it's like, well, if that team are not in possession of the ball as much, then what does that stat even mean? But if you're in a possession-heavy team and you're just winning everything, when your defense is barely being put under pressure, that shows a real high level of focus and concentration. Because those could be the only 1 or 2 times that people are getting in, but you're giving them nothing, zero. So yeah.
Right. So the second centre back, who are you choosing? Because I know if I was doing this with Tony, I know who would be in. But who are you going for? Yeah. Okay.
Gabriel. It's not close.
Yeah. Well, I know if it was Tony, it would be
Gabriel.
Right.
Gabriel.
Now,
listen, the last thing I want to say on Gabriel, is the dynamic of our centre back partnership. Is that Gabriel goes out to meet. He's the first port of call. It's the same as like Odegaard leading our press in our midfield.
Yeah.
Gabriel's doing that in the defence. That's where the risk comes from, the risk element. Yeah, and with that comes mistakes. Does he have the composure and the tidiness in the tackle, and the IQ and the Saliba has? No, but the mitigation for where mistakes can come from, I feel again, is lost in that minute detail on people.
Yeah. Okay. Right. We've got one player. Now, this is going to be tricky because it is the last midfielder. So who is your best midfielder for Arsenal right now? I've got my answer, but this is your team. So let's Granite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've not liked him in an Arsenal shirt until this season, but I liked him before, and I've seen the qualities that I know he's got, but we've just never seen it until this season. And I'm like, this is the Granite that I thought we were signing in the first place. Do you know what I mean? It's mad.
It's not been close. He's been, as I said, I repeat, he's been our best player this season.
Yeah.
Because even the likes of Saliba, like there's been rocky moments. United, own goal at Leicester. You can pick moments where you think maybe they could have done a bit better.
Yeah.
But with Xhaka, there's just been consistent game on game excellence.
Yeah.
This standard, it's not dropped. It's not dropped in any game he's played.
No,
the problems with the discipline have really reduced, and it is again, like I said, because Odegaard is the guy leading the press, so that he doesn't have to as much. But it's phenomenal, the turnaround. And do you know what? It kind of adds to the connection with the fans. Everyone loves a redemption story, bro. Everyone loves a redemption arc, man. Everyone's got time for that. So
well, we've had it in the past, haven't we, with Arsenal players that have, for different reasons, obviously our 90s and stuff, players have let us down, haven't they, as fans, and they've come back and pleased us. We do forgive at Arsenal. If you can think of, like, I'm definitely think of Adams, Merson. They've let us down in the past.
David Seaman as well.
Seaman, Naeem for the halfway line. But we are a forgiving fan base, thankfully, for some of the players. And granted, I did get annoyed with him, but I
Of
was
course I
like,
did.
yeah,
Of
I
course I
think
did.
you might have got to a point where like sell him if we need to, if we can,
Yeah,
if we get
of
someone
course I
in.
did.
But this
But
season, I have to go, wow, what a
the thing
player.
is, I was saying it towards the end of last season that he was
Yeah,
putting in excellent performances, and as well, if you look at it, when you look at All or Nothing, when he was sent off against Liverpool and he was sat in the changing room, and you can see him really contemplating, just staring into open space, and just really beating himself up, berating himself, like this man is an Arsenal man, bro.
yeah,
He's an Arsenal man. Like it actually gets me emotional speaking about it. Do you know what I mean? Like just like how harsh I was on him.
yeah,
I, like I feel a great sense of remorse that we put the writing on the wall for him, and he still fought and he kept going and he never
yeah.
gave up. And you don't have to be the best player technically. You
No,
don't have to be able to beat 20, 30, 40, 50 man. You don't. For me, as a proud North Londoner, I was brought up in Harrow, not too far from Bournemouth.
yeah,
Like Arsenal very quickly became a way of life for me, bro. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
totally.
And this redemption story is the embodiment of that.
Yeah,
You know, so yeah, it's got to be him.
yeah. Right.
Got
Let's quickly talk about this team because obviously it's very different every time I do it because obviously it depends on the opposition. And this team is obviously a lot weakened because we've got 5 players in FC Zurich. No offense to FC Zurich, but you're not our quality. So if this team was in the Premier League, do you think where do you think they'd be? Like bottom with the front line?
Certainly not top of the league, I don't think, with the
Yeah,
way it's. But I mean, I can't say I've watched these Zurich players a great deal either.
yeah,
Top half, maybe.
yeah. I'm going
Top
to
of the
say
strength of our
yeah.
players.
I want to say
Um, Tossing looked a bit of a handful, I would say, but
yes. That guy was actually quite good. Selnese is well known. I think he used to play for Rosenborg as well. Good little fighter. But other than that, they are really poor this season. And it's quite shocking, actually, because FC Zurich normally are quite a good team. But this season, they're just really poor. Whether or not that might have something to do with the manager, I think that I noticed before you joined the stream, they've been changing their formation a heck of a lot. So I don't think they've even worked out what suits
never a
them
good
or anything like
sign.
that, which is mad. Hopefully, people have been doing their predictions whilst we're doing that. Let's see how far back I've got to go here. Oh, someone's put 6 now, so yeah, definitely been doing predictions here. Let's see how far back. Right, so Moss has gone for 2-0 Arsenal, 3-0 if Eddie gets finishing. So Moss has gone for a 2-0, 3-0. I always like to write them down because I like to shout at anyone that's actually got them right. Loads of questions, but we're going to have to skip some of the questions because we've been going for nearly 2.5 hours or 1.5 hours now. DWT has gone for a 2-goal, 2-0 win. Cool. What's yours? GunnerKing, actually. Whilst I write some of these down. It's gone for 2.
3-1, I'm going to go with.
You're going to go 3-1. Okay. I'm going to go through some of these other ones. Yes, Desmali is 36. He did used to play in England as well.
Des Marley was sick.
But he's 36 and he is deteriorated. So what I've heard, he's definitely on the way down now, sadly for him. Okay. Tony's gone for 6-0. I love his optimism. I think he went for 9-0 against whoever we played last time.
Holding a header, yeah?
Yeah.
Head matches, including a bicycle kick.
Yeah, he always
Bruce
puts a
Nelson for Scorpion.
Yeah.
This guy.
It's so funny. I just love reading his comments. So loads of talk about Xhaka. Hate you, Bobby, for this. It's interesting talk because we need to understand our opposition sometimes. This one's slightly different because it's quite a weak opposition. But when it comes to the Chelsea preview, it's going to be an interesting chat, especially if we can get a Chelsea player, a fan on, because it'll be an interesting chat with them. We've done some great ones in the past. Bodo, we've even managed to do Bodo. We've done PSV, Southampton. They've been fairly decent squads, and I will give you one that will make you smile, GunnerKing. I did a watch along for Tottenham Newcastle. I do this challenge on the other watch alongs I do, and I literally said on stream that this team wouldn't even get in the top half, and that was between Tottenham and Newcastle. Honestly, that team was so poor. I was quite shocked how poor it was in the end. And it's not me being an Arsenal fan. I chose the best out of what they had, and it was shockingly bad. It just shows.
Don't sleep on Newcastle, bro.
Yeah. Oh well, trust me, I'm not. But it was the. If I can find the picture for you, I'll show you the picture at some point in WhatsApp. But the
When was
quality
it
of
this
the team
season? Was it for the game they played this season?
Yeah, when Tottenham played Newcastle. When did they play them? A couple of weeks ago, was it?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, the actual quality of the teams wasn't that great. I was quite shocked. Maybe some people were missing. I'm not sure, but yeah.
5 Newcastle players did you pick? Almiron, Sven Botman, St. Maximum, Isak Wilson's playing well.
I think it was
Bruno Gomes as well. He's playing really well.
Bruno was in there, but I think if you just look at the team, I think they'll be pushing. They wouldn't have gotten to top 6, guarantee it. And that was with Son and Kane in the team as well. It was one of the worst teams I've done. Really, it's mad how bad it was.
Newcastle have taken 16 points out of 18. I actually think they're gonna. I actually think they could get crushed top 4. You know,
they could. I think in my head that they're going to get 7th. I think that's easy for them, and it depends who else drops down.
Put it like this: people are. I feel like they're like us. People are saying they're going to drop down, but they are where they are. Isak got injured after like his 2nd game.
Yeah.
St. Maximin's been injured the whole of practically all of this season.
Yeah.
What happens when they come back, bro?
I know. My saying about the PSV Arsenal team last week was banging. It was actually a really good team, to be fair.
Oh,
PSV. But yes, so thank you ever so much, because it's been such a long show. It's been an hour and a half. I do apologise. I know you've got a show in a bit.
It's been a while, yeah. So
GunnerKing, do you want to spend a minute talking about your show later, what you're doing?
Yeah, man. So basically just going to be chatting to fan members of the other Big 6 clubs, talking about the season so far, how it's gone, just with the World Cup break looming, talking about the games this weekend, obviously Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. So you've got 4 of the Big 6 playing against each other. So talking about the prospects in that game, and we'll probably go a bit into what we want to see happen in January, you know.
Yeah.
Just our predictions for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So that's 11 p.m. UK time. Moss, who lives in Canada, you might better watch it because you'll be awake still. But I'll be way asleep on.
If not, guys, then obviously to catch up on the show later.
Exactly. I'll definitely watch it tomorrow. I just want to go quickly into what we've got coming up on the Armoury. We've got the watch long coming tomorrow. I'll be doing that 8 o'clock.
Be at the stadium as well. I just got a ticket.
Oh, there you go. We've got people live at the stadium. I think, is it Gums that is going as well? I think. Is Gums going?
God. Yeah, I'll get in contact with him.
I think there's a few people that are going from the WhatsApp group that I think of.
Lovely.
But so GunnerKing's going to try and set up a special preview for the Chelsea game. I'll be doing this type of preview as well with the challenge, and I'll see if I can get a Chelsea fan to join me for that. If not, I'll find some Arsenal fans to talk about it. Then we've got the watch along. I'm doing the Arsenal-Chelsea watch along on Sunday, 12 midday. And there'll be previews next week for Brighton. There'll be one for the Wolves. I'm trying to get a Wolves fan to do that. And Tony will be doing the reaction to the Zurich game tomorrow, probably about 10 o'clock, I would have thought, something like that. But big up to everybody. Big up to GunnerKing. I really appreciate you coming on, mate. And as always, it takes ages me to found the outro. But everyone, big up to everyone. And we'll speak to you very soon. Take care, everyone.